Welcome to Hestified. So, did you know that the idea of getting married strictly for love is actually a shockingly recent invention? Seriously, for the vast majority of human history, doing that was considered a genuinely terrible idea. Before we really dive in, I want you to just pause for a second and think about the word marriage. You probably picture a wedding, a ring, two people promising forever to each other. It all feels so ancient, almost completely natural, right? Well, today we are going to peel back the romanticized layers of our oldest traditions to uncover the incredibly practical, surprisingly cold origins of marriage. What started out as a pure, ruthless mechanism for survival slowly transformed into one of the deepest emotional bonds humans have ever created. And somewhere along the way, marriage actually stopped being just about staying alive and became about finding someone willing to stay. When you or I picture weddings today, we see the glowing lights, we hear those carefully written vows, and we just naturally assume that ritual is an ancient, unbroken celebration of deep affection. Look at photographs frozen in soft golden lights. And we kind of think that long ago, humans must have sat down and invented marriage simply because they discovered love. We just assume that the whole point of this institution, literally from day one, was to celebrate romance. But what if the true foundation of this tradition wasn't romance at all? What if instead it was driven by an ancient fear of impairments and the desperate, urgent need to survive? As we go through this explainer, I really want you to keep this central question in the back of your mind. Did we create these ceremonies because of love, or because love by itself just felt way too fragile against the relentless passage of time? Part 1: When marriage meant survival. Long before wedding halls and romantic proposals, early humans were honestly just trying to survive a completely brutal world. Enduring unforgiving winters and navigating highly dangerous landscapes was humanity's only priority. I mean, there was absolutely no space for romance when finding your next meal was uncertain. There's really stark contrast between our modern ideal of a union based on love and compatibility and the ancient reality. Traditionally, marriage was a ruthless, absolutely necessary social agreement. It connected land, it dictated inheritance, and it organized survival itself. In many ancient societies, love was entirely irrelevant. Fun fact: many Mesopotamian marriage contracts actually read exactly like property deeds because, well, practically speaking, that's exactly what they were. These early unions were fundamentally about creating structure, pure and simple. Families arranged marriages to secure resources, to ensure children had protection, and to keep wealth strictly within the group. It was way less about finding your soulmate and a whole lot more about, say, trading 50 cows for a military alliance with the village next door. A single marriage could literally unite two entirely different groups or stop a conflict between rival tribes in its track. The actual emotions of the two individuals standing there totally secondary to the survival of the larger group. It was a system, not a dream. And as early tribes expanded into massive civilizations, these whole practice just scaled up. Kingdoms and empires heavily used marriage to maintain power and redraw borders. Take the Habsburg dynasty, for example. Their entire empire building strategy over the centuries has basically boiled down to let others wage war. To happy Austria, marry. Behind palace walls lit by candlelight, princes and princesses were turned into living, breathing symbols of political strategy. These royal weddings were absolutely not celebrations of affection. They were geopolitical negotiations disguised as ceremonies, designed entirely to prevent wars and strengthen bloodlines. Part 2: The evolution of emotion. Eventually, thankfully, society stabilized. Once we weren't just fleeing predators or starving through the winter, a massive shift occurred. We evolved from that ancient era to pure physical survival, straight through the civilizational era of political strategy, and finally hit the modern era. Around the Middle Ages and moving into the Victorian era, humans began to actually desire emotional closeness. We wanted companionship. We wanted a safe place to be completely understood by another person. We stopped wanting just a partner to help with the harvest and started wanting a partner for life. You can actually trace the shift right through our culture. In the Middle Ages, troubadours started traveling around singing these songs about romantic longing, which fundamentally changed how everyday people viewed relationships. The story changed. Love transformed from this accidental byproduct of living together into something highly worth pursuing. Marriage shifted from a rigidly arranged contract into this beautiful aspiration. People started wanting a partner to face not just the physical hardship, but the loneliness, the grief, and the quiet uncertainty of growing older together. Survival alone was just, well, it was never going to be enough forever. The architecture of permanence, this massive emotional evolution touches on something deeply ancient inside the human mind. Beneath all the changing traditions over thousands of years, there is a fundamental psychological core driving us: the fear of abandonment and the fear of facing life alone. Which is exactly why I absolutely love this definition. Marriage acts as humanity's emotional architecture against impairments. Think about it. Human emotions are naturally unstable. They rise, they fall, life changes us. But by ritualizing commitment, marriage attempts to create a solid, stable fortress around those ever changing emotions. It's our way of standing up against the inevitability of time and saying, hey, even as the world changes, we remain connected. And this is exactly why we still lean so heavily on wedding rituals today. Emotions by themselves are invisible, right? They're fleeting, they're hard to hold on to. Symbols give physical, tangible form to those invisible feelings. Take the wedding ring, for instance. The ancient Egyptians actually believed there was a vena amoris, a vein of love, that ran directly from the fourth finger of the left hand straight up to the heart. Wearing a piece of metal on that finger became a visible, permanent reminder of attachment. When couples exchange vows in front of the families or share a first dance, they are transforming private, fragile emotions into a collective public memory. Rituals like these actually slow time down and they make love feel undeniably real. In our modern world, where the rulers have completely changed, this still holds true. Today, couples marry for compatibility. They build these private little worlds filled with shared routines, inside jokes, and quite Sunday mornings. But even though we aren't marrying for land or trading cows for military alliances anymore, thankfully, that ancient quiet desire to feel chosen and secure that still drives us. We are all still just searching for emotional permanence inside our very temporary lives. Which brings us to a pretty profound realization. Ultimately, marriage survived across completely different civilizations, religions, and eras. Now, because humans somehow perfected the art of love, no, it survived because we desperately needed a way to protect love from the relentless passage of time. We need a structure to hold on to each other when bodies age, when memories blur, and when life inevitably shifts unexpectedly. Because when you look beneath the glowing lights, the carefully arranged flowers, and the heavy weight of ancient traditions, marriage might just be humanity's simplest, most profound way of asking someone to stay beside us while everything else changes. So, what should you take away from all this? Well, the next time you see a glimpse of someone wearing a ring, remember the incredible survival driven history hidden inside that ordinary object. And I want you to leave you with this final question to ponder. Do you think modern marriage is mainly a celebration of love exactly as we know it today? Or is it still deep down a fortress we built against a fear of losing it?